Hi, everybody, and welcome to this week's iSolved training. Let's hope that it did not sign me out. And it didn't. All right, great. So we are going to talk today about iSolved accruals. We're going to look at the accrual section of iSolved to see where you can view and edit accrual information, and we'll also set up a new accrual. So first, we are going to go to Client Management, and then Client Management, and then Benefits, and then Accrual Type. Accruals are set up by type, like sick and vacation. You can set up multiple accrual plans for each type, so when you can assign the appropriate one to employees based on their eligibility for each. So this account has sick, vacation, fun days off, and also community service. So this company has a good amount of accruals. So the accrual types are listed here. The details are in the accrual plans. So if we click down one to accrual plans, we can see the details of each. iSolved accruals are set up in one of two ways, depending on whether you use iSolved Time or only iSolved Payroll. If you use iSolved Time, the accruals will start in the employee's time cards and then process through payroll. If you use iSolved Payroll, you will need to enter that time off that employees use into the time entry grid when you're processing payroll in order for iSolved to pull those hours from the employee's accrued bank of time. For today's training, we're going to look at an account that has iSolved Time. So we're going to look around in accrual plans. In the accrual plan tab over here, so again, I'm in Client Management, then Benefits, then Accrual Plans. And we click the accrual plan type. We see the category, the name, the accrual method. If we scroll down a little bit, scroll up to the top here, the accrual options and processing order. That is which bucket of hours the time that's being taken is taken from first. The default is carryover taken accrual, but it's not the one that we recommend. And when we build an accrual in a few minutes, we will tell you why we recommend another type of processing order. The carryover option is if you allow carryover in your accrual policy, how you want it to carry over, if it's based on anniversary date or maybe calendar year. And let's see, length of service is next. So that is what the eligibility is based on. It's based on months of service, or maybe it could be on another item. So I'm going to click edit just to show you that there are other options like days worked. The service date options is hire date or adjusted service date. So if you want to have a little bit more flexibility in where the accrual is pulling from to calculate the amount the employee is entitled to, you can choose adjusted service date. The calculate as of the period end date, so it's all hours that have been taken or their schedule as of each payroll period end date. All right, so we are going to click save. Or maybe we won't click save because I don't want to mess up anything in the plans that have already been made. We'll click on eligibility rules next. So this is where you can see who is eligible for the plan. And in this case, we have both the full-time hourly and the part-time hourly employees eligible for sick pay per hours worked. Again, I want to go back to accrual plan for a minute. Even though the accrual method is per hours worked, we can choose per schedule if we want to. So we're going to click edit and we're going to do per schedule. And the schedule is, we want to say every pay. Because a full-time employee, maybe they work 39 hours in a week rather than 40 because of some extenuating circumstance. You will still want that person to earn that accrual for that pay period, even if they did not work exactly full-time. So if you choose per schedule and then choose the schedule that you want, it helps you to, it lets you to avoid those manual modifications and updates. So we're making it per schedule and we're going to click save. We talked about eligibility rules, which is where we can see which employees are eligible for the sick pay. And next is plan rates. The plan rates are built based on the accrual method selected in the accrual plan tab. And we'll build a plan rate when we build the accrual later in this training. So for sick, we can see that there is just one accrual plan rate, 1.3 hour per paycheck. If we click on vacation, that shows us that there are some more accrual rates. And if we scroll a little bit, we can see that it's based on months of service. So employees accrue 1.53 hours for every paycheck until they have worked for the company for 2 years. And then after they've worked for the company for 2 years, their accrual rate increases to 2.31 hours per paycheck. And then after 5 years of service, it increases again. And if you look at this accrual limit year to date over here, it tells you what the max is that they can earn each year. All right, so that is the accrual plans. Now we're going to add a brand new one. So to add a new one, we click Accrual Plans, and we click Accrual Plan and Add New. So you know what? I'm sorry. We have to add an accrual type first. So we go to Accrual Type, and we are going to add Mental Health Day because everybody needs them once in a while. And it won't. Oh, right, there we go. So we can't do spaces. So it's a mental health day. Everybody needs a mental health day once in a while. So we add the name and the description. We're going to keep the standard accrual, and we are going to build out all the details once we go into the accrual plan. So a lot of accrual plans can be associated with one accrual type. So right now we're just building the general. And because we are in an account that uses iSolved Time, we are going to choose Select from Existing Leave Earnings for both Select Reduced Balance Earnings and Select Payout Earnings. If we were building an accrual and we only had iSolved Payroll, we would choose Add New Leave Earnings. So we click Save. And we don't have to add anything in Reduced Balance Earnings or Payout Earnings because these checkboxes are associated with the Add New, and that's if you have iSolved Payroll only. So we click Save, and our Mental Health Day accrual type has been added. So if we scroll up here, we see it. Now we are going to add our accrual plan. We click on Accrual Plan. And what you need before you start to build the accrual plans are all the details. So let's make up the details right now. How much do they get? We'll say 40 hours per year. Is it paid? Yes, it's paid at their regular rate. Who's eligible for it? Full-time employees only. Is there a difference in how much they get based on how long they've been with the company? Yes, after 5 years, they get 80 hours of mental health days. Is there a maximum they can get? Yes, that's 80 hours. Does it pay out at the end of the calendar year? No. Does it roll over? Yes. Up to 8 hours can roll over every year. And does it pay out at termination? No. So I'll remind us of all of these answers that we just came up with as we do this plan build. So the first thing that we do here is we click Accrual Plan and Add New. We choose our accrual category, Mental Health Day, and the plan name auto-populates for us. The alternate ID we are going to keep blank. And let's see, we're going to scroll down a little bit. So this is where I talked about per schedule or per hours worked. We're going to say per schedule and every pay because we want every single employee to be eligible for mental health days. If we wanted only full-time employees or only employees that worked a certain number of hours within 6 months, we would choose that in per hours worked. If you choose no accrual balance only, you would need to manually update the leave accrual balances for each employee, and you would still be able to carry over time, but it would all be manual adds from you. And we're trying to automate as much as we can because that's one of the things that iSolved is really good at. So now we scroll up and the accrual options. So whenever you have an accrual policy where carryover is allowed, we recommend choosing Taken, then carryover, then accrual, so that you can avoid any messy paychecks at the end of the calendar year and beginning of the following year, because that's when a lot of people are taking time off and maybe they're carrying some time over, but they're also still accruing it because they're actively employed. So there's a lot of accruals happening and being deducted at the same time. And taken, then carryover, then accrual alleviates any mess that you may see. The carryover options, if you want to do it based on anniversary date, fiscal year, calendar year, you can choose that here. you can click Allow Employee Override. And this will allow you to change employees' accrual rates if there is a condition of their employment where maybe they get more mental health days than others get. Length of service options. This is something that you'll select so that you can say when employees are eligible. We're going to choose months of service, hire date only, or we could do adjusted service date if an employee is rehired and their adjusted service date goes back to their hire date. Whatever you want to do based on your policy. Calculate as of period end date so that the paycheck is calculated at the end of the pay period. This part we're going to leave blank, the as of adjustment date, because this is something that you would use if you wanted accruals to be reset as of a certain day every year, January 1, or maybe July 1, or whenever that plan starts based on the specifics of your plan. So we've got everything we need in here, and we're going to click Save. Next, we are going to add some eligibility rules. So we click Eligibility Rules and then Edit. And we want everybody to be eligible for mental health days. So we select both of them and move them over to the right. And then we click Save. Next are plan rates. This is where you can add in the accrual. And we said per schedule. So because this client here has a weekly payroll, we're going to divide the 40 hours by 52 to get the first rate, and then 80 hours by 52 to get the second rate. So we do plan rates and we click Edit to start. After 0 months of service, 40 divided by 52 is 0.769. There's no balance limit. So we put this in here because this is the accrual that they will get every time they get paid every week. We are going to have a carryover option that's limited to 8 hours per year. And then the accrual year-to-date limit. We're putting in 40 because employees are paid every week and we want their accrual to be up to 40 hours per week. But maybe they get a bonus or some sort of adjustment in the middle of 1 week and then they get an accrual and then they get more than 40 hours. We don't want that. So we need to limit how much they can accrue per year. So we are going to click Save, and that starts our plan rates. Now we need to add that one for 5 years. So we click Edit, and then Add New. And then after 60 months of service, that's 5 years, their accrual rate is 80 hours divided by 52, which is 1.53. So we type in 1.53, the carryover option and the carryover limit carry over, which is nice. The year-to-date accrual limit is 80 hours, and then we click Save. Say this accrual policy, the mental health days, you're not allowed to take mental health days in your first 3 months of employment, because in your first 3 months of employment, you should not be feeling any stress at all. So we are going to add something right here. We're going to click Edit, and first, in this 0 months of service, we're going to scroll all the way over to the right, and we're going to choose Balance Unavailable. And that means that the accrual is happening, people are earning the time, but employees are not going to be able to see it so that to try and take it. And then we click Add New, and we are going to say after 3 months of service, employees can get that 769 accrual. We add the 40-hour limit, just like in this top one here, but it is going to be available to them. And we click Save. And then when we save and it refreshes, it lines up in order. So in the beginning, they're accruing, but they can't take it. After 3 months, they're still accruing, but they can take it. After 5 years, they have doubled their accrual rate and they can take it. So those are plan rates. All right, so the other thing I said last week when I was doing the benefits training that I would go over the calendar rules. And calendar rules are associated with accruals. What you can do is you can do a separate build so that employees can see one another's approved time off, so that you can, maybe you've got restrictions, only one person per department can take a day off at a time. Or maybe only 2 people can take the day off, whatever it may be. So after employees time off is approved, as long as it's in the future, other employees can see that, and then you can even be in your policy, you know, before you ask for time off, check the calendar and make sure nobody else has that time off approved already. So that is something that we can set up for you in the calendar rules, or help you to do it too if you would like us to walk you through it. So just let us know if you want to do the calendar rules, if you want your employees to be able to see other employees' time off. The last thing that we need to do, since we made this accrual policy mid-year, is we need to add it to the employee's actual accrual so that they start accruing time. To do that, we click on Employee Management, Employee Benefits, and then Leave Accruals. And we go to Robert. So Robert has community service. He's got fun days off. This is a pretty good company to work for. Mental health day, let's choose it. Maybe we need to update his balance because we made this policy as of July 1 and he's been paid twice since then, and he's been here 5 years. So 2.31 times 2 is 6.62 hours. So we put that updated balance in and we click Save. Now, Robert's, when he goes into iSolved, he's not going to see that 6.62 right away. But once payroll is processed at the end of this week, he will see it on his next pay stub, plus whatever he accrues this pay period. So that is accruals. I've gone over accrual types, which is where you really start the whole process. You can look at accrual types to see what your different accrual types are, and then you can build out a bunch of different accrual plans from each accrual type. Again, if you have iSolved time, the time off actually starts right in the time card. It goes into the time card as the employee's time off is approved, and then it goes into the payroll processing and the hours are pulled right from iSolved. If you have iSolved payroll, you need to make sure that you're putting in that time off that the employee has taken so that iSolved knows to pull them hours from the accrued buckets of time. So if you have any questions, please connect with us, connect with your account manager. You can connect with myself. And thank you very much for listening to this training. Bye-bye.